Hello everyone, welcome to Psychosin psychoanalysis here on the Psychosin project channel on YouTube. Today I'm going to be reviewing the brand new album by Nightwish, which is out today I believe in the UK. Endless Forms, Most Beautiful. Has it been worth the wait, and does Floor Jansen make herself known as the right vocalist for Nightwish? Well, let's delve into this. First song on the album is Shudder, Before the Beautiful. Now this starts with a spoken word piece, and then the band comes in with an orchestral sound behind them and a solid mid-paced drum beat. The guitar then kicks in with a nice chuggy style riff following the orchestral tune. Floor then comes in with her superb understated vocals on this song. We reach the chorus and she brings to mind a nice mix of the previous two Nightwish singers, Annette Olsen and of course Tarja. We then go back to the orchestral sounds and that driving riff and drum beat for the verses. After the second chorus we go into a dry keyboard solo, then a guitar solo, then the two exchange more solos until we go into the middle eight with sweeping orchestral pieces. We then return to the chuggy riff from before, backed up as ever by that orchestra. Floor starts leading a chant with a choir backing her up, and we go back to the main riff with a sweeping score being played in the background until we break down to just the vocals and keyboards. We then go back into the chorus with the entire band, which takes us through to the sweeping epic ending. Up next is Weak Fantasy. Now this starts with a thundering riff and pounding drums along with the backing orchestral keyboard sounds, which leads us into the riff proper. All fades down to just acoustic guitars and Floor's emotional vocals. The drums and bass rejoin help to propel the song forward, and then the heavy guitars come crashing back in. We then have both Floor and Marco singing the chorus together. We then return to the verse and the acoustic guitar and keyboard backing Floor's lead vocals. Halfway through the song, it breaks down to just keyboards and acoustic guitar. Drums then join in, building up the song into a sweeping riff, and then Marco takes over lead vocals, backed up by Floor. Floor comes back on lead vocals, backed up by spiralling riffs, and then back to the main chorus and riff of the song. This leads to a stop-start riff and drum beat to take us through to the end. Third song on the album is also the first single from the album, so many of you have already heard it. It is of course Elan. Now this starts with keyboards and panpipes playing the melody. The guitars then come in with the panpipes playing the melody and the guitar as backing. We then have the bass line driving the song along with Floor's amazing vocals coming in. Clean guitars play a melody alongside that driving bass line. Distorted guitars then come in for the chorus and an epic sounding chorus. We then return to the panpipes even, and sweeping guitar riff until we break back down to the bass line and vocals for the verse. We then go back to another run of the chorus. Another few runs of the chorus takes us through to the end of the song, where we get just acoustic guitars playing the melody, and then a fade out for the song, which ends with the keyboards. Next is Yours Is an Empty Hope. Now this starts with a sweeping orchestral hook and choral voices. The guitar then plays the riff backed up by pounding drums and bass, driving the song along at a nice fast pace. Floor comes in with occasional choral backing for the verse, with nice changes between Floor and Marco for the lead vocals on the song, which leads to a slower paced riff for the chorus where Floor and Marco duet together to sing the vocals. At the middle eight we go into a mid-paced riff with full orchestration backing it up. We then break down to the orchestra and bass line with occasional keyboard melody being played. Choir vocals add to the building up of the instruments along with guitar until shouted vocals come in shouting the title of the song. Well, I say shouting, not heavily shouting but melodic shouting. You'll understand what I mean when you hear it. The chorus riff comes back in. We have one more run through of the chorus to take us through to the end of the song with a very sudden ending. Up next is Our Decades in the Sun. Now this starts with choir voices singing in the background. Floor's vocals then join in with a backing harp. A nice gentle ballad style song to help break up the album and gives a different feel overall. Guitar and piano then join in subtly along with the guitar to add to the overall almost Pink Floyd style feeling to the song. The guitars then come in with distortion to play the melody along with harp and violins. Halfway through the song the pace picks up a little, then we break down to just the choral backing vocals and panpipes again with subtle acoustic guitars. Then Floor rejoins with her vocals. Drums and bass rejoin with back to back to the chorus. At the middle 8 we get keyboards and a guitar sustaining a single note along with some melodic vocals from Floor herself. The orchestra starts to swell up the sound and feeling of the song along with the piano and vocals and a very subtle Pink Floyd style guitar in the background. Then the song comes to an end with a fade out. Up next is my Walden. Now I'll admit I have absolutely no goddamn idea what a Walden is, but this is about floors I suppose. Anyway, this starts with male vocals backed up by a choir, then guitars and folk instruments join, reminding me of the band Helveti. Floor joins in and at first she reminds me of Tarja on this song. For the chorus, Floor is joined by the choir singing along with her. So it's mainly propelled along by keyboard, bass and drums with occasional guitar flourishes, except for the chorus where the guitar and vocals are the main driving force. Halfway through we get the folk style instruments rejoin the song, then we're down to a cappella style vocals until the piano joins, playing a simple melody with violins in the background. Until the guitar comes in, we have acoustic guitars changing the melody completely. Panpipes join in with occasional guitars from the middle 8. We then come to a sudden ending with Floor's vocals. Up next is the title track of the album. Now this starts with a pulsing bass line and an orchestral line with backing female choral vocals. Guitars then join in playing the same riff as the bass line, giving a high energy feel to the song. Floor then joins in and is backed up by just drums and bass until after the first verse when the guitar joins in. We then enter the chorus with sweeping riffs and orchestration to back up Floor's fantastic vocals. At the middle 8 we break down to just orchestration and occasional guitar stings. We then go into an extremely heavy sounding guitar riff with pounding drums and bass. We break down to just piano after this and then the guitars kick back in with that riff until we break down to just keyboard, then a lone guitar and drum with keyboard backing. The vocals then fade back in for a final run through of the chorus, which leads us through to a sudden ending. Up next is a song that I'm going to attempt to pronounce the title of. I might get it completely wrong. I think it's pronounced Edema Ruh. Now this starts with keyboard melody being played. It starts with a keyboard melody being played. Then the rest of the band kicks in playing along with that keyboard melody. Spaced down to a bass solo, then just Floor's vocals and keyboards. Drums gently come back in, backing the vocals. The guitars kick back in for the chorus along with the rest of the band. Again, there's a subtle Pink Floyd feel to the guitars on this song. In the middle 8 we get a superbly judged guitar and keyboard solo. After some keyboards we then get a choir singing until we go back into the chorus. The song swells up for the last run through the chorus, then ends with a lone guitar solo and backing folk instruments, fading the song out. Up next is a song called Alpenglow, and no, it's nothing to do with a breakfast cereal. Only probably a few countries will understand that joke. But anyway, this starts with keyboard and orchestra playing the melody. Drums come in and start to build the song up with Floor's vocals coming in with the rest of the band as the rest of the band crashes in to play the main riff. The vocals come in sounding almost reminiscent of Annette Olsen, to be honest with you. Then we get some slightly heavier sounding vocals from Floor until we go into the driving chorus. During the verses, occasional keyboards join the drum and bass backing the vocals. Halfway through the song we get a guitar solo and then a panpipe solo, playing it together essentially until we're back to just the vocals and keyboards. Drums and bass start to build the track back up to take us through to another run through the chorus. We then have the end song end suddenly, not have the end song end suddenly, that would be bollocks. Up next, the penultimate on the song on the album is actually the only instrumental on the album, and it's called The Eyes of Sharbat Gula, which sounds like some kind of Batman villain. But anyway, this starts with the sound of war drums. Acoustic guitars come in playing along over the pounding drums along with a piano. Violins join in to add to the overall atmosphere of the song, and then so do the panpipes. Male backing vocals join in, singing along to the melody. Female vocals join the male vocals, again adding to the slightly melancholy feel of this track. After this, a child choir then takes over halfway through the song, singing along to the piano melody. What the hell is a piano melody? I don't know. Piano melody is what I mean. Anyway, the male and female choirs come back in. The whole track showing how good Tuomas Holopainen would be if he was given free rein to write the score to some kind of epic movie. The instruments all start to swell up, adding to the atmosphere as the panpipes come back in along with some violins. The song then ends with a fade out. Right, strap yourselves in, folks, because it's going to be a long review of this track, because this song is the longest song on the album, possibly the longest song Nightwish have ever actually released, as it comes in at almost 24 minutes long. Now, it starts with a piano melody being played, violins then join in. A minute and a half pounding drums happen, and then the melody changes to just being played with violins, and then the piano comes back in, all building the track's epic feeling back up. Panpipes join the other instruments and plays along with the piano melody. Everything calms down and we're back to just piano and violins with female choral backing vocals. Floor comes in with operatic style vocals over the piano melody. Drums start building up and adding a tribal feeling to the song as the song continues to build up that epic feeling. At 5 minutes we're down to just choir vocals, then we have Celtic folk style instruments, again reminiscent of Helveti, coming in to play the melody with spoken words over the top. The band then comes crashing in into a fast riff and melody by the guitars. This breaks down to just piano and orchestral stings until spoken words from Floor and Marco at the same time are backed up by guitars. Floor then starts singing at the 7-minute mark. The some vocals continue for the chorus, then we're back to the spoken word pieces from Floor herself. We break down to just violins and occasional flourishes of guitar and drums. The guitars then come back in with the fast driving riff, and Floor comes back in with her vocals backed by keyboards and the entire choir. We return to the pounding drums from the beginning, the choral vocals. The sound of various zoo animals then come in with violins in the background and ethereal female vocals. After the sound of lion roaring, we're back to the whole band crashing back in, with this time Marco leading the vocals and swapping between the lead vocals with Floor. Both sing together when we get to the chorus. We then break down to just the sound of the orchestra and the male choir. Some panpipes join along with a harpsichord. Then the band come crashing back in again. We have Floor taking the lead vocals again to do another run through of the chorus. The song swells up and then breaks down to nothing but some ethereal sounds again, till a lone piano starts playing the melody, joined by occasional violins. The panpipes come back in playing along with that piano melody. The drums come back in along with the bass playing at a mid-pace as the narrator comes back in doing another spoken word piece. Once the spoken word piece is over, music swells up into an epic orchestral piece. This leads to everything dying down except for a subtle violin being played and the sound of waves and yet another spoken word piece. Spoken piece ends and leaves us with the sound of waves and dolphins, which takes us through to some more ethereal sounds, which takes us through to the end of the song, and indeed the end of the album.
So, in conclusion, what do I think of Endless Form's Most Beautiful? Well, there's got to be two questions. One that you're wondering is Floor really the right vocalist for the band? And the other one being, has it been worth the 3-year wait since Imaginarium? Well, the first answer for if Floor is the vocalist is definitely. She can do the same kind of operatic vocals as Tarja did, and she can also do the sort of normal singing vocals that what's her name? The last vocalist did. My mind has gone blank as to her name. Annette Olsen, that's the one. It come to me then. As well as bringing her own style, because obviously if you've heard Revamp and that, you know she's got a very sort of metal style to her vocals as well. So she brings that to the band, as well as being able to quit herself to the challenges of a Nightwish song. Because let's face it, when you sort of join a band and they come up to you and go, oh, by the way, one of the songs we're doing is 25 minutes long, it's a little bit intimidating, but anyway. And the other one is this album been worth the wait? Yes, definitely. I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest Nightwish fan around. I like them a lot, I respect them, but I wouldn't go out of my way to see them or to, buy one of their albums or anything. However, with this album, I actually enjoyed it all the way through, and with repeated listens, I think this might reveal itself to be their best work yet. Anyway, I want to thank you for watching. Feel free to sort of help support the show, going to the Patreon at the bottom here. And I will be back soon with another review, maybe another interview, because I've got a couple of interviews lined up for you to listen to and to hear me stumble my way through the English language. Anyway, thank you for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.